What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you the winner of the Halloween poll, and that is of course, zombies. Now I've tried to make this as pure zombies as possible. Unfortunately when you get to the extra deck, it can't all be zombies because one of your best super poly targets is a dragon. Go figure. But the deck is designed to be zombie focused, and I'm not talking about zombies that are vampires, I'm talking like actual zombies, reviving the dead. So, with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. We've got loads more coming up leading into the release of the brand new Bonanza, which is coming out next week, which will then roll into a tail end of the year competitive season and moving into the brand new year where we will get Supreme Darkness and of course that all important Blue Eyes White Dragon structure deck. So with that out of the way, I'm going to dive headfirst into the profile, show you what we've got and explain why we've got it. So starting off with triple Uni-Zombie, this is the best starter for the deck. The fact it lets you send from hand to grave and deck to grave is insane. It allows you to manipulate levels to help you get into your synchro axis from the extra deck. It just works an absolute treat, and this is why I want to utilize the brand new Flying Mary. I think this is such a cool card for any zombie type deck. Yes, it might benefit Eldritch a little bit more because you get the Golden Ore to the graveyard a lot more consistently. However, this one just allows you to utilize some more of those zombie boss monsters that usually were a little bit trickier to get out, or you get to utilize them twice in a turn. Then of course the OG kind of like zombie reviver is of course Mizuki. Now when I say that this is a pure zombie build, what I mean by that is it's not playing tier elements, it's only a 40 card version, it's not playing the Keldo or the Ishizu cards. If you want to add them in, of course you can do, it will make the deck better. I wanted to focus on this being as pure a zombie main deck as I possibly could with relevant hand traps and involvement that will actually benefit the deck and its overall strategy. Then of course we do play two Shiranui Solitaire. You can play the other Shiranuis if you wanted to, but I feel that you could actually get a full-on deck of Shiranuis, which I always used to really enjoy. But the Solitaire is just a great option to get off the back of Solitaire into Uni-Zombie, and then you're basically like setting everything up that you need to because you can send the Mizuki in and go off from there. So it really is up to you. You can go for a 3 and a 2 in the other way, but I still quite like Uni-Zombie being my main summon for this, and I'm also playing a Law of Darkness in the deck as a very nice draw option, which Uni-Zombie will fall under. Then of course we are playing two Necro Banshee. You can play 3 if you want to, but it's so easy to get this card from deck to the grave. You play Foolish Burial, you play Uni-Zombie, you've got other discard cards in the form of stuff like Card Destruction, you've got Foolish Burial, you've got 1-for-1, you've also got Call by the Grave. So you can get this out of the hand very easily, you can get it from the deck to the graveyard very easily, which is why we're only playing 2 of it. And then we play a range of one-offs. You've got the Gozuki, and then of course your bigger boss monsters at level 5 or higher that you can get off the back of the Flying Mary, which also have their own effects to revive from grave and everything you need to, is the Changshi, less so the Mad Mauler, ignore that one, and the Plague Spreader, and the Glart Bloom, but the other big boss monsters, there we go, Algol, Mazira, plus your Doomkin Balderrock, your Vampire Froilin, and your Jacko Bolin. So the Vampire Froilin is really the only vampire that I've put into the main deck, purely because I still think it's an incredibly good card, and the fact that it allows you to manipulate your life points means that you can utilize the Psychic and Punisher as your OTK one-punch operation without needing to utilize the Punk Engine. That being said, if you wanted to utilize the Punk Engine, you could very easily do so, but like I said, try to keep this as pure zombie as possible. Moving on to the spells, Triple Super Poly, this is one of the very few decks alongside Cyber Dragon with Clockwork Knight, or Machine decks with Clockwork Knight, where you can actually manipulate your board so that you will always have a Super Poly target live. Yes, of course, if you want to add more Super Poly targets to the extra deck, you could do like your generic Garuras, your Mud Dragons, and everything else in between. With this one, I'm purely focused on the Zombie Lord, for the pure fact of the matter is that you just be able to turn everything into zombies, so your Necro Dragons, in order to utilize stuff like Zombie World, and then that can be a real pain because a lot of people will forget there are a lot of cards in the extra deck that require theme monsters or that require dragon monsters specifically or anything else like that. So once they're under something like Zombie World, that can actually really cause them a lot of issues. Then speaking of which, 2 Zombie World, followed up by 2 Law of Darkness, 1-1-for-1, Foolish Burial, Reasoning. Now what I like about this is technically an extender or a Foolish Burial, and when both of these cards are at 1, you can just play 1 of each. Then Card Destruction, 1 Call by the Grave, and then for the hand traps, Triple Ash Blossom, it's a zombie, and of course it's insanely good. Followed up by Triple Infinite Impermanence, and Triple Forbidden Droplet, because Actually using Droplet in this is probably the best kind of go second card for the deck, because you can put Mizukis from your hand to the graveyard, and then you can put another zombie to the graveyard and maintain your normal summon by banishing it, while also negating 2 monsters on your opponent's board, which is absolutely insane. So that will allow you to go second and go first, as well as utilising obviously imperms and ashes that can help you out massively, and then utilise the rest of the zombie cards themselves. Now, Allure might be a little bit less so, but what I still like about that is I have loads of targets I can banish that I can still bring back with the Flying Mary as well. So even if I do banish it off of the back of an Allure, I can still bring it back. So obviously you can banish your Baldrake, your Froylan, you can also banish your Chenshin, you can also banish, when I get to it, where is it? Well, you can banish your Unizombie and everything else. Unfortunately, the other cards that you can banish but you can't bring back with Allure will be Jacko Bolan and your Algol, because Earth and Fire, but just something to keep in mind. So you can banish these big guys if you get them stuck in the hand, and then you get to bring them back to the board a lot easier than usual. Speaking of which, let's move to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we do play 2 Flying Mary. Now, obviously, I really want to get a second QC because I think they're incredibly cheap. I think a friend said they were like £10 a copy. So this one, obviously, is Chiron's one that I've borrowed off him at the moment. I think it looks really cool. I like Link Monsters as quarter centuries because they really do sparkle quite a bit. So let's just put it in the middle so you can see it sparkle. But what I like about this one is it's 2 zombie monsters, so it's not generic. It can't be abused in other decks. And then you get to target 1 level 5 or higher zombie monster that is banished or in your graveyard. Place this card into the spell and trap zone as a face-up continuous spell, and if you do, you special summon that monster. And then while this card is treated as a continuous spell, you get to target a level 5 or higher zombie you control. Destroy 1 monster your opponent controls with attack less than or equal to that monster. You can use each effect once per turn. I would have really loved this to have been treated as a continuous trap card as well, but then that would have been too broken, because then it would have meant that you would have had a pop during your turn and a pop during your opponent's turn. But I still think this card's really, really cool, and zombies are getting more support in the future anyway. It's just a no-brainer. And then the generics, you've got your Avendred Savior, Vampire Sucker, Fascinator, and of course your Yuki Ono. Unfortunately, Mayakashi and Vampires, but they are just insanely good zombie type Link monsters that you kind of want to utilise for the deck. Your super poly targets in the form of the Drago Necro. Now, obviously, we're not relying on it solely being Drago Necro or solely being super poly focused, but the idea is that this will give you your best targets to do so in that matter. And of course, it does revolve your Baldrake around having Zombie World a lot more effectively for you. So it is something you do need to keep in mind. For the Synchros, of course, Immortal Dragon, another way to Foolish Berry any of your zombie monsters. The Felgrand, the Red Eye Zombie Necro Dragon, the Red Eye Zombie Dragon Lord, and then your non-zombies, of course, with Omega. Just being able to loop back your Mizukis is incredibly broken. And then a Chaos Angel and a Psychic End Punisher. So this is where the extra deck kind of drifts away from being pure zombie, but it still gives you that capabilities. If you like the idea of the Synchros behind the zombie deck, of course you will go down a punk version a lot more. And that's what I love about the zombie deck, is it does have so many different variations and so many different alternatives that you can utilize. Because when you're looking at that, you can also work your way down through the punk version, as I've already mentioned. You've got the Zombie Swarms, which used to be one of my personal favorites. There's like a 60 card option. This doesn't even include Grass Looks Greener because it is a 40 card option. But if you were to increase this to a 60 card option, of course that would go in. If you then start looking at a 60 card option of this, you can start mixing in more vampires. You can start mixing in the Ishizu cards. You can start mixing in so much. It's just absolutely insane. So yeah, I thought I wanted to keep this as a 40. I wanted to try and keep it as pure zombie as possible, because at the end of the day, we only get one Halloween a year, and I always want to make sure that the profile that is highlighted on Halloween is something that is going to be fun and enjoyable to take to an event that you will still do quite well with, but they're not the meta dominant deck that you might consider. But I do think it's a very fun one. Like if your locals this weekend is going to say, let's do a Halloween themed like tournament where you can play zombies, you can play fiends, you can play so you've got like Mayakashis, you've got Shiranuis, you've got normal zombies, you've got vampires, ghost tricks technically also count as a Halloween-esque. You could arguably say that Dark Worlds are a Halloween-themed deck as well, which I think is really, really fun. And I love these kind of themed decks around holidays. Now, obviously, Halloween is one that will be utilised. I don't think we have that many Christmas-themed ones, which would be really cool. I do like the idea of Mimigals being a Christmas-themed deck, though, because you give your opponent a lot of presents, and then technically they give you those presents back, or you give them monsters as giving them presents, and then you get them back. So I think that's kind of a fun way to twist Mimigals, if you wanted to make Mimigals a holiday-themed deck, I guess. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like I said, very simple. I wanted to keep it as pure as I possibly could get away with while still making it function well enough. Of course, you could take out the Vampire Foreign if you wanted to, and that's when you'd go down your Shiranui Swordsmaster. That's when you can obviously put in Shiranui Swallow Slash, and then you can look at other zombie variants that you can add into it as well. But I thought this would be a fun version, a fun update as well. Keeps budget in mind. I don't think anything is crazy expensive in this in the main deck. Like Chaos Angel might be about £10, but you can cut, like, go over that and go for something completely different as well. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy Halloween.